Locked On Big 12. Joining me tonight, it is Kenton Gibbs, the host of Locked On Wolfpack, Matt Sheehan, the host of Locked On Spartans, Bryan Brown, the host of Locked On Utes, and then Chris Gordy, the host of Locked On SEC. Guys, it is 12:01 Eastern Standard Time on Monday now, March 29th, 2021. And so we had a lot of craziness in the first couple rounds, a little bit less in these rounds. But the big story, like it was following the first couple rounds, is the Pac-12. They've got 3 of the Elite 8 teams. And I have to say, Bryan, a couple of them, USC and Oregon, obviously we were going to get one of them right into the next round. UCLA, I thought they'd keep that game close. I did not think they'd shoot the lights out in an overtime setting like that to win that game after the shot at the buzzer. And then obviously Oregon State, who got the love all week long? Loyola Chicago. And they put the brakes on that in an ugly, disgusting game. But, facts, 3 of the 8 Elite 8 teams are from the Pac-12.
Yeah, when we talked on the selection show, I mentioned that I liked Oregon State's potential to win one game, and here they are on the verge of a Final Four appearance. If you're betting against the Fighting Tinkles at this point, that's your problem. So it's been an incredible run. This has been – you watch the conference game in and game out, and from my perspective with the University of Utah, which was a mid to lower tier team in the conference, I kept wondering, are we just really that bad of a team? And we're finding out that there really was a lot of talent in this conference, and it's teams that are doing it in less flashy ways. You've got USC, who has the elite talent in Evan Mobley, but then you've got Oregon State and UCLA, programs that are playing defensively, playing good hard-nosed basketball. And you're seeing guys for UCLA that are stepping up every single game, and it's a different guy. And they're just continuing to roll. And, if anybody's happier than Bill Walton about this, I want to meet that human being and just, soak up the energy that they've got. But it's been an incredible run, and it's been massive for the conference too.
Ken, I want to ask you about this. I mean, do you think it's a stylistic thing? Do you see something, Ken, where it's like they can kind of match up well with other teams? Or do you think it's a conference thing? Because the ACC, obviously, their teams have all been KO'd at this point, and a majority of other conferences represented have all been KO'd. Do you think it's a stylistic thing, or do you think it's, a personnel or just kind of unique circumstances across the board for each one of these teams?
I think what we got to look at here when it comes to the Pac-12, number one, USC is the tallest, most skilled team in the country. They have what Mayhem had with his zone at its peak in Syracuse, but with more scoring. They have a player that is comparable to what Carmelo would be in one of the Mobley brothers, he's 6'10", can handle, can shoot, can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They have all those things going, and their shortest guard on the court is 6'3". They got 6'7", 6'9", 6'10", and 7 foot. Like that, to me, when you bring a zone out with intensity and that, you're going to be intense. The rest is March Madness. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a point in time where we must acknowledge this is different from football. In football, you exert force on somebody every play. A 320-pound man from Alabama is going to be 320 pounds every single play. There's nothing you can do about that. In basketball, however, we talked about UCLA. A different guy gets hot every night. You can't count on that. As you can see in the regular season from UCLA, they barely snuck in the tournament, not in the Elite 8. You know how that happens? You get hot as fish grease at the right time, make shots, do the right things, play a little bit of defense. You get a little further. Make your free throws. No offense to my Locked On SEC guys down here. Make your free throws. You get a little further. So Oregon State, same deal. Defensive-minded, just a really good team that's playing as a team, getting it done as a team. When March happens, we need to realize all it takes is your opponent to have an off night, you to have a good night. You do that a couple times, congratulations. Welcome to the Elite 8 Pac-12.
Yeah, and I'll go to you real quickly here, Matt. That game between Oregon State and Loyola was like one of the worst basketball games I ever watched. Now, to Oregon State's credit, I thought the big thing was they hit shots and in timely situations when Loyola did not. What did you think?
Yeah, and I noticed that it was a low-scoring game because I had the over that game, and that over was busted before the under-16 timeout in the first half. Oregon State, like, they baffle me, man. Ever since the Pac-12 tournament, I've just been waiting for them to lose. Like, okay, they were not that great shooting the ball in the regular season. This can't sustain itself this long, can it? Like, oh, no, it certainly can. I mean, and what's impressed me, too, was their defense against Loyola was pretty solid as well, and I think that's a really underrated part of their game right now. So as they go into this final game against Houston, I mean, yeah, it's an 8-point spread on BetOnline at AG right now, but I don't know. Am I prepared to lose money betting against the Beavers for the 7th game in a row?
I know, right? We've all been victims to it.
Yeah. Right, I know. I might as well. I've done it 6 times. What's the 7th time? I mean, so, yeah, man. I mean, why not?
Number 7. Yeah, one team that was victim, or one conference rather, that was victim to the Pac-12 was Alabama. Chris, I mean, Reese hits the shot right at the buzzer, first basket of the game. No Johnny Juzang in overtime for UCLA, and you think this is heading one direction for Alabama. And, I mean, UCLA came and shot the lights out. Unbelievable stuff. Alabama, I thought, was the best chance the SEC had for the Final Four. KO'd.
Yeah, it felt like UCLA didn't miss at all in overtime. I was really surprised. I mean, when Reese hits that shot to send it to overtime, you're just feeling like, all right, all the momentum's going to go in Alabama's favor. And tip your cap to UCLA, man. I mean, they came out guns a-blazing, and Alabama just had an uncharacteristic night where they didn't shoot threes very well. You know, they shot just 25% from three. I've called them the Golden State Warriors of college basketball all year because they just jack up threes, but they hit so many of them. And in my opinion, man, the free throw thing, like, you got to hit your free throws. Whether it's big moment or whatever it was that got to them tonight, man, you can't leave those free points out there. And Herb Jones, who was, SEC Player of the Year, Mr. Clutch so many times this year, he missed some big free throws down the stretch in regulation where Bama could have won this game in regulation. And so, look, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Alabama had this game there for the taking tonight. They didn't get it done. And tip your cap to UCLA. They're much better than an 11 seed.
All right, guys, so let's talk some about the 1 seeds because, we had that group of games there with the Pac-12, and obviously, there's 3 teams getting through. But we also had 1 seeds, and this is one feature of the tournament that's pretty common, right? Fun, exciting matchups, upsets the first weekend, and then things begin to hold serve weekend number 2. Now, I think the conversation here about the 1 seed is super interesting. And Matt, I want to go to you first on this because I had so many questions about Michigan without Isaiah Livers. Their record without him going to the tournament was really bad. They've fixed it. They've found themselves without Livers, and they've always had the horses to do it. But they found a way in the last few games, and today it was on the defensive end to win. And one thing that's underrated I want to mention, I think Phil Martelli is such an underrated part of the staff. Juwan Howard is so smart for bringing a guy with that much experience to his staff. I love Michigan. I love the way they've overcome their most important player being out and what they're doing now. Yeah.
Coming from Locked On Spartans, this is my personal hell that I'm living right now. This is horrible. They're rolling right now. Injuries don't seem to bother them. They get UCLA instead of Alabama in the Elite Eight to just waltz to another Final Four. This is horrible. And and speaking of horrible, the Livers injury sucked. You don't want to see that no matter who you're a fan of. Obviously, I'm not high and mighty for saying that, but at the same time, they can kind of just plug in other guys too. He's a wing player. They got a lot of strong wings. Brandon Johns comes in off the bench, same build. You don't lose too much defense with him on the court. Yes, the offense takes a little bit of a dip, but you have other guys all the way from their point guard down to Hunter Dickinson, the 7'1", seemingly 38-year-old freshman that they have down there that's just wrecking shop for him. So, yeah, no, this is the worst. I hate it. It's horrible, and they got a really good team, and they will go to a Final Four. And odds are, Gonzaga will lose to USC, and they'll face them instead of. I'm rambling now, so I'm sorry, guys. This is the worst. I'm just talking through it. I need
that's
therapy.
Why I asked.
I need therapy.
I wanted to make sure that you were going through it.
I am.
There's the back part. Chris, so I want to go to you. Chris, you and I connect here on this, next kind of one seed is that Arkansas is going to play Baylor, right? And so Arkansas barely gets by Oral Roberts. Really great game, and I'm not going to take too much away from Arkansas there. But if I watch Baylor in the second half, and I'm Eric Musselman, I am concerned at the and what's interesting here. And Chris, you watched them, you've seen them play. This is a game actually where I think a sneaky guy is going to have an impact. Connor Vanover is the guy that can have a big impact in this game. Doesn't play for Arkansas against teams that are kind of matched up similarly, but when Mark Vital and Flo Thamba are out there for Baylor, Connor Vanover could be the guy who swings this game. I don't think they have a shot to win Arkansas unless he plays and plays well, because he has done well against teams that don't have size.
Yeah, it's a good point. I still think you're going to rely on your stars. I mean, Moses Moody, has been quiet at times throughout this tournament. I'm waiting for him to go off and have that 30-point game where he puts the team on his back. And, obviously you look at all the NBA mock drafts, they've all got him going top 5 right now. So, this is a moment where a guy like that could, rise to the occasion, put the team on his back. Obviously Smith, big man down low, he's got to get his. But, it's interesting because I've seen Arkansas play so many different styles this year. They've done, the up-tempo pace game where it's, we're going to outscore you, first 1 to 90 wins. And we've seen them play the slow it down style, eat the clock and, back it in down low. So I'll be interested to see how Arkansas plays this one. Are they better suited playing up tempo? Let's run it with Baylor all night, or let's slow it down. Let's eat clock. Let's take some good shots, but let's try to make this one a sloppy, lower scoring game.
They should want that. That's probably how they want to play. Just somebody who's watched a lot of Baylor this year. That's kind of how they want to do it. Brian, I want to go to you because USC is going to play Gonzaga. I thought this going into this game, I thought OU gave Gonzaga a better game they're going to see today. That was the case. It somehow ended up being an 18-point game in the end. It was like a 30-point game at one point. What are your thoughts on Gonzaga? Is this exactly what you thought you'd see? Are you more impressed, less impressed? Oh, Brian, we cannot hear you right now.
Wouldn't be a
there you go. We got you.
I didn't have mic issues, right?
We got you back.
Muting myself on this one, but Gonzaga is an impressive team, and I got to watch a lot of them this year. They played BYU twice in state, and watched them a lot being on the West Coast, and I think they really are legit. But it is going to be interesting to watch them play against a team like UCLA USC that is so athletic and so big up front. And what do you do with Evan Mobley if you're Gonzaga? This is a guard-heavy team, I think, especially with Suggs being the talent that he is. How does that match up against USC's guards who are big and physical and defend well? I think it's a great matchup.
And then, Ken, which one seed are you most concerned about heading into the Elite Eight? Because it seems like we're barreling towards maybe a 3-1 seeds to the Elite Eight, which Final Four rather, which is pretty rare. Which one seed do you think is most likely to lose this, these first 2 days of the week?
Probably the ones who have the biggest point spread, Gonzaga. I'm sorry, but I'm concerned here because all of the things that we've talked about are, as far as Gonzaga goes, they've never had a Jalen Suggs. Sure, but Gonzaga has also never seen a team this big, this skilled, that's playing as well as they are with this zone. In watching some of USC, I said, wait a minute, this zone could not have been this good all year because they'd be undefeated. There's no way. And then when I saw them earlier in the season, I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense now. They had some injuries. They looked disjointed at times. They looked very just rusty offensively. But now they've got it going. Now this is – Gonzaga can score from a lot of places. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. However, again, a team that is very skilled but undersized, playing against a team that is slightly less skilled but has length everywhere, that's going to be a problem for them. That, to me, is much more of a problem for them than UCLA will be for Michigan. I don't see that being a problem. Or than Baylor's opponent will be. I don't see either one of those teams posing as big of a problem as USC poses for Gonzaga.
I agree with you, and the way they move that zone around is so interesting too. They went from a 2-3 to 3-2 at points. It looked like tonight, and I thought Andy Enfield made some good adjustments. All right, guys, so let's get to these games. We're not picking as many as we were last week, so we take a little bit more time to kind of dive into them. Houston, Oregon State, like this is just, I mean, what the hell are we doing here with this Elite Eight matchup? Who saw this one coming? So Houston 8-point favorites. I love the way they dissected that Syracuse zone. They were really good about getting to the baseline. Quentin Grimes hit enough threes, in my opinion, to bust and kind of make that zone concern. Also, I thought they played good defense. Oregon State played a zone some against Loyola the other day. They should not do that in this game. Chris, where are you going on this one?
I'm riding with Houston. I've had them in my championship game in every bracket that I filled out. I just really liked, what I was seeing down the stretch with Dejan Giroux and, Quentin Grimes. I thought that they had the makeup to be a team that can get to the championship. And, last night they scared me against Rutgers. Last night kind of settled my nerves the way that they just absolutely took it to Syracuse defensively and offensively. So I think Houston's going to end the Cinderella story that was Oregon State. Kelvin Sampson's name should be getting thrown around for any of the big jobs out there because let's face it, I think he's one of the best coaches in college basketball.
We just hope the wins don't get vacated, right? Also, Brian, what do you think about this one?
It hurts to say this as somebody who's watched so much Pac-12 basketball this year, but I think it probably is over for the Oregon State Beavers. Wayne Tinkle's done an amazing job. This team won 6 of 7 going in to the Pac-12 tournament and then won 4 straight just to get into the NCAA tournament as the most unexpected team probably from the Pac-12. But they are starting to show that as the competition gets stiffer, that it gets more and more difficult for them to get the job done. I don't know if Warith Alatishe can continue to play the way that he has. They're going to need more shooting. It's Ben Thompson and Jaron Lucas that have really gotten the job done for them. And, if Houston does manage to contain either of those guys, then they're really going to struggle to find a way to score. And I think that Houston probably will be able to figure that out. But it's a great coaching matchup with two guys that have just been absolute titans in the sport.
Ken, do the Beavers' magical run, does it continue?
The slipper has fallen off. The carriage is turning back to a pumpkin. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sorry to say this. I have nothing against either of these teams. I have no dog in the fight. But the fact of the matter is Houston is too deep, too talented. Oregon State, congratulations. One of the hottest teams in the country. Great job on making it this far. Now's where we start to see it go a little chalk. And I'm telling you, the upsets, the all of the things that they've done as far as making it ugly and nasty and you said that Oregon State made it very ugly today against Loyola. You don't need to make it cute. You need to make it a W. They did that. But with that being said, they're not going to be able to do that with a Houston team that is more athletic, much more athletic than that Loyola team that they played today was, that has a little bit more length, that has better coaching as well. So I honestly and truly, 8 points ain't a big enough spread. Houston rolls here. Also, another thing about Houston, I don't want to take up too much time here, but the way that they dominated today gave them time to rest some of their starters later in the game. That's what helps Houston get over this hump and dominate Oregon State because Oregon State has had to play balls to the wall for 40 minutes rather. Yeah, the entire game.
Matt, do you lay the 8 here with Houston?
Yeah, Houston -8. I can't lose 7 bets against the Beavers. That's my only logic that I have. Short and sweet, simple as that.
We appreciate that, Matt. All right, let's move on to the matchup. So for some reason, this game's at 10 p.m. Eastern time on tonight, I guess now. So, thank you, NCAA. You love the East Coast Beavers, don't you? Arkansas and Baylor, 7.5 point spread here. I love Baylor in this game. I love them -7.5. They got on a roll against Villanova in that second half, and they looked in trouble and showed who they are. I think they handle Arkansas fine. I think they roll into the Final Four. It's starting to feel like Gonzaga versus Baylor is the matchup we're destined for again. Chris, I'll go to you here first. Am I wrong here? Are you going to defend your SEC squad, or are you going to just admit that this conference has the better team in this game?
I'll say Arkansas has a chance. just for simply, we've seen Baylor get abused by a better shooting team a couple weeks ago with Oklahoma State. Kansas beat them as well. So I'd say if Arkansas could come in and shoot lights out, build up a solid lead in the first half, and maybe try to hang on down the stretch. The problem is, what we've seen from the couple losses that Baylor's taken, the opposing team has shot lights out from three. I don't know if Arkansas can do that. They haven't done that very well all year. I know in the game on Saturday against Oral Roberts, they were just 1 of 9 from three. They didn't really need it to help them win there, but they're going to need a hot shooting night if they're hanging with Baylor. So Arkansas has a chance, but I'm with you. I think Baylor still prevails.
Brian, what do you think happens between these two teams from inferior conferences to your Pac-12?
It's been a fun run for the Must Bus, but I feel like it's about to have a couple blowouts along the road, and those blowouts are going to be from Davion Mitchell just stabbing those tires like he's been doing all tournament long. I think Baylor, they've looked like a contender all year long. They were my pick to make it to the championship along with Gonzaga. There's no time for me to abandon the Bears now. Here we go. Sick them.
All right, real quickly, Matt, what do you think here?
I'm going to put the smallest unit possible on Baylor, but the number I do like is actually over 148.5 for the total. So take the over to the moon, baby. Let's go straight up.
That is from our friends at betonline.ag. So we love them over there. Ken, what do you got here?
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Baylor wins unless Moody can bring out what Cade Cunningham brought out against them a couple weeks ago. Moody has to be huge, not big. Huge. He has to dominate this game in order for Arkansas to have a shot.
30 points.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, so this next game you can see on TBS for some weird reason. It is USC against Gonzaga. Gonzaga 9.5-point favorites, according to our friends at betonline.ag. I'm going to go rapid fire here. Kenton, you first. It sounds like you're leaning USC covering.
Oh, no. I'm going USC against the spread. They're not going to win outright. They're not going to win outright. They'll keep it closer than that 8.5. They'll keep it closer than that 8.5. But Gonzaga is too much, and Suggs is the difference maker. They haven't had a playmaker like that. They haven't had a scorer like that. They haven't had a guard as good as he is. He's going to be the difference. Gonzaga wins, but USC keeps it close.
Matt, how many units we got here and who on?
Probably just 2 units. Like, Gonzaga is so good that it makes USC look like a giant red coil on a stove that looks so appealing to touch for some reason, even though it's stupid and there's no point to do it. But, yeah, I think I'm just going to put my hand firmly on the stove and take the bait and stupidly pick USC plus 9.5 and just continue to lose money this weekend. Yeah.
Just tease that line. Brian, are you going with your conference, USC? No.
We got units to spare out here, but I'm going with Gonzaga.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
I like the Zags to win. My only question with them is when you look at the other 1 seeds, I feel like they've been better battle tested. When you look at what the Zags have done, they've had to play 8-seed Oklahoma, who some people said, was overseeded, 5-seed Creighton, who some people said was a bit overseeded. So I just wonder have the Zags kind of coasted too easily, and now they're going to fight a real bulldog in USC.
All right, one more matchup we have to pick here, guys. It is UCLA and Michigan. I think actually both teams were surprised to see this point for a variety of reasons. Michigan right now, 7.5-point favorites. I will go to Kenton first on this one. Where are you going?
I sung it last time, so I guess I got to do it again. Hail to the victors, valiant. UCLA's had a great run. They've been very hot in this tournament. They've played very good ball, very balanced ball with a new guy coming out hot every night. Michigan is too fundamentally sound. Their bigs are too good. Too much Juwan Howard magic all over this team. They're going to go ahead and get it done, get to the Final Four. Since the first time in some time now, when I believe Trey Burke was on that team, they're going back.
Matt, how are we losing money in this game?
Well, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to visit every bank in the Metro Detroit area and take out the biggest loan possible and put it on the Michigan money line at minus 330. I feel like that's the best way to go about this. But just like Ken was saying, I think it's all about the bigs. UCLA has a big guy. Michigan has not just Hunter Dickinson, but they also got some pretty big wings too. So, yeah, give me Michigan minus 7.5 and pain and sadness in my household on Tuesday night.
All right, Brian, does UCLA keep their magical run going?
I don't know if Bill Walton can find whatever it is that he's found out in the desert to keep this streak going. As much as I'd love to see Westwood continue, I'm not going to give Juwan Howard anything that he wants to fight me over. Hail to those victors.
Chris, wrap us up here with the picks.
Yeah, well, first off, can we stop seeing Mick Cronin's dad? I think the over-under shots on him was 45
absurd
on the TV broadcast. But anyway, on the flip side, what I said for Gonzaga about having not been battle-tested, Michigan is battle-tested. They beat a really scrappy Texas Southern team in the first round. They beat an 8-seed LSU that should have been more a 4 or 5 seed category LSU. And then they beat a really good 4-seed in Florida State yesterday. So I'm rolling with Michigan. I think that they're red hot. Hunter Dickinson's been so good. I think they keep this train rolling.
You know, when Herb Jones misses free throws, I need to see his dad's face. That's what I really needed to see. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Ken, to Matt, to Brian, to Chris, and then to Ross Jackson, our producer on the ones and twos doing this stuff. We really appreciate him. Shout out to Bet Online for giving us these lines and also getting these Elite Eight lines for Tuesday night's games out fast, just as these Sweet 16 games are ending. So go check them out, guys. Right now, use that promo code LOCKEDON. Get that 50% discount bonus there at betonline.ag. We'll be back on Tuesday night after the Elite Eight games wrap up. I'm sure it'll be like 2 a.m. because, you know, why the hell are we playing games this late? But no, we'll be back after those games wrap up to talk about them and then preview a Final Four. We'll have a Final Four in just a few days. It's pretty crazy. But thank you for watching. Check out all of these hosts. Ken, you can find him at Locked On Wolfpack. You can find Matt at Locked On Spartans. You can find Brian at Locked On Utes and Chris at Locked On SEC. You can find me at Locked On Big 12. Thank you guys so much for watching.